Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going? This is TweaK here, back with another episode of Budget to Best. Today, we're going to be going over the M1A. This gun has been so widely requested, and people keep asking me, how do you mod the M1A? What's a good mid-tier budget M1A? What's the best M1A? What's the cheapest M1A? Etc. What ammo do I use? What armor should I use? What helmet should I use? Whatever. So I'm making this video to answer those questions. So we're going to get straight into it, all right? You guys may recognize this gun from before. This is the Worth M1A #1. And all it is just an M1A, and you just slap a PK06 on it. So all you got to do is go to Jaeger level 2, grab a PK06 for 36k, and you are looking at arguably the best budget gun in the game. Now, people are, I can already hear in the comments, TweaK, why don't you just use a Hunter Vepr? 10 round mags, 5 round mags. With the M1A, you get 20 rounds. There is a huge difference between having 5 rounders, 10 rounders, and then having a 20 rounder for a little bit more money. It is 100% worth investing. It's just do it. Just stop being so cheap. Just buy the gun, okay? Just buy the gun, buy the PK06. It's good. Now, we're going to go over ammo, right? For me personally, I always use M80s, okay? I have never had an issue really absolutely demolishing people with M80s. This ammo should fly through visors, no problem. Class 3 visors, no problem. You might get a little bit of trouble with like an Alton visor or a Killa visor, but with these rounds, something else that's pretty effective that you can do is just spam center mass, and it will absolutely demolish somebody, let alone if you hit them in the head. Okay, unarmored opponents, whatever, you will smash them with this round. Okay, now M62s, you can use these if you want. They're a little bit more expensive, and I know a lot of people use them for sniping because you watch where the tracer goes, and then you can readjust your shot. You know, you take your second shot, you'll know exactly where the bullet's going to go, right? But they're more expensive, and tracers give away your position. I know it might not seem like a huge deal, but if you have the drop on somebody, and I can tell you 9 times out of 10, I see a tracer coming towards me, I know exactly where the guy is shooting at me from, and I'll just peek him and one tap him. It happens all the time. This is why I don't necessarily recommend using M62s, because they give away your position, right? Now, unless you are Jeff Bezos, right? M61s, goddamn, you must have money coming out your hole, because M61s, first of all, they're $10 a round from Peacekeeper, let alone how much you're going to pay for them on the flea market. 1,200 rubles a round. I barely ever use M61s, and when I do use M61s, I just don't notice that big of a difference between M61s and M80s. I really don't think there's that much of a difference between the two rounds to justify the price point. I know I'm going to get comments saying, I use M61s all the time. I one-tap everybody. TweaK, you don't know what you're talking about. I run in my SA-58. I run 50 rounders, and I fire 50 rounds into everybody. Oh, super fast. Yeah, okay. Good for you. If you have good experiences with M61s, go for it. Use them away. But all I'm saying, you don't need to break the bank. Just grab yourself some M80s. Very simple. Now, what I'm going to do, we're going to go to factory, and we're going to test the gun out. I've just been playing Hyperscape for the last 5 hours, and my sensitivity feels very, very low. I also did tagged and cursed for some reason. This could have been a really bad idea. But this M1A, really good for labs, really good for factory. Honestly, really good for pretty much any map. You just got to be conscious of what this gun... You just have to be conscious of what this gun is good at and what it's not good at. Oh my god. Bro. There's so many scavs. What is that scav doing on top of the container? Oh my god, this raid is cursed. Okay, putting on tagged and cursed was a really bad idea. But as you can see, it absolutely mows through scavs with very little problem. And yeah, and you can pretty much use this gun on any map. It's one of the best, in my opinion, all-rounders in the game. Simply because... Oh, God. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm probably not going to put on tagged and cursed again for this. Seems like a really bad idea. But yeah, I think you guys get the idea. And because this gun's a semi-automatic, I don't think there's a real reason to show you guys the that guy straight up fell down in the hallway. What was that? Oh my god. Yeah, as I was saying, if I could get a second to speak here. I absolutely cannot have a second to speak here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to leave. So as I was saying, sorry, I am not going to do tagged and cursed for the next bit because that's just ridiculous. That is stupid when I'm trying to talk and there's just a million scavs screaming and running at me. But what I was saying, there's no real reason showing you guys like, oh, this is the recoil pattern or whatever, because it's a semi-automatic gun. Next raid, what I'll do is I'll tone down the scav so I can actually show you just how to effectively tap with one of these. It's very simple. You just go, you shoot, you'll notice your gun rises and then your gun comes back down. What you want to do is you'll get into a rhythm of just going bang, 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 bang. And this is if you're firing from like a medium to a long range. And this is simply just to not have you just go bang, 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 and then your shots just kind of go everywhere. When you have a scope, it's a little bit easier to do that, but when you have a PK06, you need to be a little bit more precise if you're taking. But what I was going to say, a good loadout with this gun in particular, one of these level 4 armored rigs, really good. Throw in an SSH. You've got a loadout that's worth under 100k that you're not really going to lose that much money if you die, which is pretty nice. So yeah, there you have it. The worth M1A1. And just if you want to see the stats, vertical recoil 146, horizontal recoil 262. It really doesn't mean that much when you're using semi-automatic guns. So it almost feels like irrelevant to even bother showing you guys. But the most important part, how much is the gun? Well, if you go to Peacekeeper, level 3, I believe, you are looking at $635 for the M1A. But if you go to the flea market, you're looking at 50k. 50, 60k. It's kind of late right now. It's almost midnight when I'm recording this, so maybe the flea market's a little bit empty on these, but sometimes you can get them under 50k. You know, sometimes when it's late and the prices are high, you know, it goes up to, you know, 50, 60k, whatever. And then a PK06. So you're looking at a gun for in and around 60, well, 80k really, including the PK06. Probably about 85, 86k. Which is pretty damn good for what it does. So let's get on to the next gun. And here we have it. The Worth M1A number 2. Now, the difference between the first M1A and this M1A is we have a much longer barrel on it. I've also stuck the BMD, which is the blast mitigation device, along with a Lantac Dragon on it with the A3 adapter. Obviously, you need the A3 adapter for the BMD and the, you know, the Lantac Dragon. We've also put a UTG-4 mount on it, on top of which we have stuck a Valde. And I've even gone as far as to stick a little canted PK06 on the side of it too. So this is definitely an upgrade from the last M1A. Obviously, the recoil and the stability and everything is going to be way lower than the first one, because the first one wasn't modded at all. You'd be very surprised how much a longer barrel and that BMD actually makes a huge difference as far as the recoil and the general handling of the gun goes. Now, this gun is going to be a little bit more expensive. What we're going to do is we're just going to open the preset here. It's already there, because I'm stupid. Okay, and then we're going to grab another M1A. We're going to buy the parts, and you're looking at 115k. You're actually looking at about 136k, I think, including the PK06, because apparently the PK06s are all sold out right now. Not entirely sure how that happened, but they're all sold out. But PK06s are about 36k. Now, obviously, I feel like I need to say this every single time. You don't have to use the Valde. If you don't like the Valde, you could use a different scope if you like. It is completely up to you. And then as far as the compensators go, like, there's a bunch of different compensators you can use. You can switch these out if you don't have all of this stuff unlocked yet, or you just prefer using a different muzzle device. Totally up to you. Obviously, the canted PK06 setup is completely optional. It's completely up to you. So there's a lot of interchangeability here. The only thing that needs to stay is the 22-inch barrel, and that's pretty much it. Everything else you can change. There's a lot of give and take with the M1A. You can kind of build it many, many different ways, as is the beauty of many semi-automatic weapons in Tarkov, because they don't necessarily have to have the best in slot stats. to actually still be a really, really good gun. We've gone over the price. We have gone over the stats. I'm going to take this into a raid real quick. And I'm going to, first of all, tell you guys that if you're running an M1A like this, depending on the value of your gun is probably around the value of the armor that you should maybe bring with you. Somebody told me that the other day and I never really thought about it. So if you're bringing like 150k gun with you to a raid, maybe your armor should be about the equivalent price. So something good you could bring is a TV10 rig with a U-lock, pack sports, and, you know, a decent sized bag maybe. If you're going to invest that much money in a gun, you should also probably invest, you know, more, if not the same amount of money in the armor that you're running. Because you don't want to spend 150k on a gun and then get one tapped. When the TV10 will give you, you know, level 4 protection to your thorax, but it obviously has a lot more hit points than the 6B 3TM. You could also run a killer armor, which is generally what I run all the time. But I mean, depending on what your budget is, you could run slick armor with this. You could run whatever. Gen 4 is also pretty good. Gen 4 assaults, Gen 4 mobilities. I do not recommend wearing these though. These Gen 4 fulls. Change in movement speed, minus 33%, minus 20% turning speed, and minus 22% ergonomics. No, no, no. No, no, no. Never use that shit. That armor is trash. Okay? So, let's get into the raid. Let's see how the bad boy performs. So, here we are in the factory. Obviously, this gun, you can use to point blank blast people. Absolutely no problem. Works well in labs, works well on customs, woods, shoreline, reserve, any long range map, woods. Absolutely no problem. You get close range. You got yourself a little... Jesus. You got yourself a little backup PK06, you know, for when things get a little bit hairy. And hey, somebody's out in the distance. You still got your Valde, you know? So, pretty nice. You can more or less, I think the reason why the M1A is so popular amongst a lot of Tarkov players is because it's very versatile. You can use it pretty much anywhere and it just works. Like it's just a good gun. Long range, close range, medium range. Except when you only put 20 rounders in it. If you're going to run this gun as well, probably bring 30 rounders. But I want to explain real quick what I was saying about the other M1A and getting into the rhythm of shooting it. So we're just going to look at that door. Do you see the way... like, it's kind of different with this gun because when you shoot, it goes up and then it resets, right? So bang, 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 bang. And that's without me even holding my breath. So if I hold my breath... if you can get into that rhythm and you don't panic and you just start going like... you know, if you can keep your cool whilst maintaining that pattern of tapping, you will be pretty much 100% accurate every time. Like, if you see a guy that's pretty geared, just remember that slow and precise is probably better than just freaking out and just smashing your left mouse button until you're completely out of ammo. I would just recommend just getting into the habit of just not panic shooting. It's something I used to do all the time. It's something I see a lot of people doing when we do raid reviews. And sometimes if you just take that extra half a second to just line up the shot or just shoot a little bit more slowly, you will find it very, very, very easy to kill more people. It's just all about being a little bit more patient, being a little bit more precise, and definitely being a little bit more patient when it comes to picking your shots. So, yeah, I mean... there's really nothing more I need to say about this gun. As far as the M1As are concerned, they're just really good all-around guns. So we're just going to get into the next gun build. And, yeah, I'll see you back at the stash. And here we have it, the Worth M1A number 3. Now, the first thing I want to show you guys, and this is just... I was having this argument with somebody on stream before, and I was like, you don't need to mod the gun with all the quote-unquote best parts in the game. Because, in theory, you know, oh, Archangel stock, you know... wave suppressor, you know, all this other stuff, you know, long barrel, blah, blah, blah. You know, it doesn't necessarily make the gun that much better. It's the stats, as far as I'm concerned, for like a semi-automatic rifle, they're more or less the exact same. And this gun, just to put into perspective for you, the price difference. So we're going to go assemble. We're going to do it on this one, 5 parts. You're looking at 235k pretty much for this loadout. Now, is this a good gun? Yeah, of course it is. Does it look really cool? Hell yeah. Is it suppressed? Of course. As is, you know, every pretty much worth 3 gun that I've made. I try to always make them suppressed, even if it's at the cost of stats for the weapon. Because if you're running a suppressed gun and you're shooting people from a decent range, it's going to be way harder for them to figure out where you are before they die than if you're loud. Because when you're loud, it's very easy to find out where somebody's shooting you from. Also, there's a canted sight on here for some reason. I suppose you could put that there if you wanted to for some reason, if you're a psychopath. But I will always take a suppressor over something that will lower my recoil. Now, obviously, this is situational. If you're going to factory or if you're going to labs, you don't really need a suppressor. And obviously, the wave suppressor is a little bit different because it's one of the best stat reducing attachments for like the muzzle that there is in the game. But yeah, long range maps, you would always want to value being more silent than going loud and getting a little bit more recoil reduction. So yeah, here it is, the Worth M1A3. Before people have an absolute fit in the comment section, because this happens all the time, why isn't there a 50 rounder in it? Well, when you're using the Archangel body, you can't put a 50 rounder in it. Okay, please. I know what I'm doing sometimes, okay? So you want to put 30 rounders in this. You could also put 30 rounders in the Worth M1A2 as well. It is completely up to you. Depending on what your budget is, they don't really cost that much more. And having an extra 10 rounds, it might not seem like a whole ton, but it definitely makes the difference. So again, when we're looking at this gun, obviously, you know, the scope is interchangeable. You can use whatever scope you like. You can use whatever laser you like. You can forego the laser if you like to save money. It's completely up to you. And then the wave suppressor, in my opinion, it's pretty mandatory. But if you really want to save a little bit of money, you can just slap a land tack on there or something like that. It is totally up to you. Obviously, as well, with the canted sight there, you can pretty much run like a high-powered rifle scope on this. If that's your playstyle, you can run a PK06. If anybody gets close to you, you can switch to the PK instead of having to rely on your point shooting. But yeah, the M1A, one of the most versatile guns in Escape from Tarkov, one of the best rifles in the game that for some reason I hate. Like, I hate for this all the time. What's your least favorite gun in the game? I'd probably say the M1A. There is something about this gun that I don't like, and I don't like using it. I hate it. And I don't ever use it. And I don't know why. Every time I seem to pull these guns out, I have a really bad experience with it. Maybe I just need to have a day where I just play with it all day or for a couple of days and get used to it. But for me, I don't know. This is my gun. I feel like everybody has a gun, you know, that's popular to other people, but they don't like. And this is it for me. And I never really understood why. As far as armor goes for this, if you're running a gun like this and you're trying to do like sniping and stuff like that, I always recommend running a beta backpack instead, because more low profile, gives you a way less. Try and run maybe like a green helmet if you want, just to kind of keep the profile down if you're doing some sniping. And then as far as the rig goes, it doesn't really matter because they don't really stand out all that much anyway. So yeah, that's the Worth M1A3. I'm going to bring it into factory. I'll give you guys a look at how it performs. I'm sure you already know by now. It's going to perform very similarly to the Worth M1A2, but let's get in there and we'll have a look anyway. And here it is. I do have to say this gun is kind of a thing of beauty. This is a pretty damn nice looking gun. I think one of my main gripes with the M1A, now that I have it in my hands again, the ergonomics really isn't that great. I think this is why I enjoy running guns like the SR25 a little more, just because you can get the ergonomics much higher because you obviously can't put a foregrip on an M1A. Unfortunately, I'm kind of hoping that maybe someday they make it so that there's a new like stock or something like that, or some kind of new foregrip setup that lets you put a stock on it or put a foregrip on it would be pretty nice. But just to give you guys an idea, we're just gonna aim at the door down there. And as you can see, you can tap this a little bit faster than you can the M1A2. Obviously, it depends on the distance, but you can tap it a little bit quicker. And pretty much same as every other gun in the game. All you got to do is pull down just a little bit, and you have absolutely no recoil at all. At least it's super close range. You know, at long range, you're going to get that left to right kick and that up and down movement that's going to be a little bit more unpredictable, a little bit harder to manage. But yeah, I mean, this gun absolutely excels on maps like Woods, maps like Reserve. This is a good gun for people that like sniping but don't like using bolt actions. Because you could slap a pretty high-powered scope on this and go sniping with it on reserve or woods or something like that. And you still don't need to bring a backup secondary. As I see a lot of people doing, they go sniping. They'll bring like an APS. They'll bring a 5.7. They might bring like a relatively modded MP5 or an AK-74U with them to use as a backup weapon. But all you got to do with the M1A is, hey, switch from the Bravo or switch to whatever other high-powered scope. Maybe put something on your canted sight. And then just, you know, start blasting as soon as anybody gets close to you. Pretty good. So yeah, there you have it. That is the Worth M1A3. Not really much to say about it. I really didn't think the M1A would be as requested as much as it is, but I guess a lot of people really love this gun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the 3 loadouts I showed you. The first one I showed you guys, the attachment is literally just a PK06. It's about 36k. Second one costs about 120k, I think it was, or 130k or something like this. And then this one you're looking at about 230k. So you've got 3 different brackets of price points there. I always recommend people for budget runs to use the M1A1, the Worth one, just because it's super cheap, super effective. And it's the same gun that I used in my Budget Labs video. And a ton of people have started using that build and they're making bank on labs. So with all that, I'm going to edit out me missing those 4 times on that guy. It's fine. You won't see that. But yeah, without any further ado, my friends, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Hit the old subscribe button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what guns you would like to see next. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you liked the builds. And hopefully I'll end up grabbing one off one of your bodies one day. Got him. Just kidding. Guys, make sure to go follow my stream. Twitch.tv/TweaK. I stream all the time there. Links will be down in the description. And yeah, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and all that jazz. I'd appreciate it. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching the video. And I'll see you on the next one. You suck at these nuts.